All right, we're going to go ahead and talk about the different parts of an eye. We are going to primarily focus on the human eye, but we're also going to talk about different mammals like sheep and cow and the different parts that they have in comparison to what a human has. The first part that we're going to talk about is the cornea. The cornea is a clear dome-shaped surface that protects and covers the front eye. It is the first lens in the eye. It contains no blood vessels, which is why it's clear, but it does have nerves in there, so it's sensitive. This part of the eye does the most focusing of an image, and it's most easily observed from the side. Okay, so in this document that I'm going to show you, we're going to refer to this 3 more times after this. We're going to focus just right here on the cornea first. So the cornea, okay, sticks out away from the eye a surprising distance. If you go ahead and close your eye, your eyelid, and put your finger on top of your eye gently, if you go ahead and turn your eye from corner to corner, okay, you're going to feel a lump. Okay, that lump that you're feeling is your cornea. Okay, all right. The next part of your eye is called your aqueous humor. It's a water-like fluid found between the cornea and the pupil. It provides the cornea and lens with oxygen and nutrients. The liquid is located in the front of the eye. So aqueous, you can think of aqua, water, okay? So when the eye dissection is happening, you're going to see this water-like substance that will come out of the front part of the eye. So that water-like substance is found within this area here. All right, the next part of your eye is the sclera. The sclera is the white, tough wall of the eye. It, along with internal fluid pressure, keeps the eye, gives the eye its shape and protects it. So if you think about your sclera, if you're looking at the front part of your eye, what you can see looking in a mirror, it's all the white part of your eye. It's that tough wall. But actually your sclera, so the cornea is up in this area here, but your sclera is going to go all the way even back here to the part of the eye back in here. Okay, and then all the way out back in here. So think about if you've ever seen an eyeball, it's white all the way around it. That's all the sclera, that tough wall. Okay, your iris. Okay, the iris is the colored part of the eye. It could be brown, green, blue, hazel, whatever it may be. It's a ring of muscles, and it's located directly behind the cornea. So remember, your cornea is up in here, this clear spot in here. And it's also in front of the lens, which is this part back in here, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. And it opens and closes around the pupil, okay, right in here. Blue eyes, fun fact, have the least amount of pigment or melanin, and brown has the most. So we'll go back to that same sheet that we were looking at for our eye observation. And if you were to look at your iris, okay, it says in bright conditions, the iris lets in only a tiny amount of light. In dim conditions, it can open to let in 40 times more, and it's just giving you an activity that you could do to look at this. So if you were to, let's say for example, you were in a dark room, okay, for a few minutes, and then you were to shine a light on your eye or turn a light switch on, you're going to notice your iris. Okay, it's going to start moving and opening up and up, or open and close, depending on how much light they're letting in. So think about even during the daylight, your pupils are a lot smaller, and then at night they're a lot bigger. So those muscles in the iris are the things that are moving to allow that light to go in. Okay. The next part of our eye is our pupil. Your pupil is the dark circular hole or opening in the center of the iris. It is an actual hole, okay? Even though it looks like a dark spot in our eye when we look at it from a frontal view, it's actually just a hole, okay? So when you watch the eye dissection, you'll be able to actually see the iris that's around it, and then the pupil, that's the hole in the middle. The iris lets light pass through here to the lens. So you can see the opening here, and it's going directly to the lens. The iris controls its size. So when that iris gets smaller or bigger, that's what's making the pupil look bigger or smaller. Your pupil will change when you enter light into your eye after being in a dark room by getting smaller. All right, so that was just going back to what we were looking here with the iris, okay? The next one that we have is our lens, okay? Your lens is a transparent tissue that bends light passing through the eye. So it's this part right in here. To focus light, the lens can change shape by bending. This bending changes the light rays to give the retina a clear image. And we'll talk about our retina, which is in the back part of the eye, later on. It gets fatter for closer objects and thinner for further objects. So for that, same sheet, okay, the lens in the eye can focus by becoming fatter or thinner. You can feel the adjustments, okay? So they're just showing a picture of what that could look like. Focus the finger about 6 inches from your eyes. Bring it slowly closer, keeping the ridges in focus. You should be able to feel that strain. That strain is your lens trying to focus on that object, or your finger in this case. All right, the next part of your eye is the vitreous humor, and that's in the back part of the eye here. So it's a clear jelly-like fluid found in the back portion of the eye, and it's attached to the lens. So when you see the eye dissection happening, they might squeeze out the lens, and attached to the lens you will see the vitreous humor. The vitreous humor is what is used to keep the eye, give the eye its shape. As you age, it's going to go from a gel-like substance to a liquid substance, and it's going to separate itself from the retina. Okay, when that happens, unfortunately, this is where you're going to have a lot of eye problems that might happen when you get older. The next part of your eye is your retina. So your retina is this back thin nerve lining that's in the back part of your eye. Okay, so if the retina is a camera, or sorry, if your eye is a camera, the retina would be the film. It is a fine sheet of nerve tissue lining the back half of the inside of the eye. Rays of light enter the eye and are focused on the retina by the lens. The retina produces a picture which is sent along the optic nerve for the brain to interpret. So your optic nerve is this part back in here. Your retina is where these photoreceptors are located. 2 sets of light sensors, so your cone-shaped and your rod-shaped sensors are located on your retina. Your cone-shaped are the ones that are sensitive to different lights, and then the rod-shaped ones are what are sensitive to our response to brightness in black and white. One part that I'm going to just mention is the back part right here where the retina meets with the other part of the retina on the other part of the eye. This is where your blind spot is, okay? And so an activity you could do with your blind spot is, did you know that you are a little blind? The spot on the retina where the optic nerve connects has no light receptors. So this is an activity that you could do. So the first step you would do would be to cover your left eye and look at the cross with your right eye, slowly bringing the page closer. And then you can switch and do it with your right eye. All right. Your optic nerve, like I mentioned earlier, is this back part of your eye. It's a tough white cord-like structure connected to the back of your eye. So this nerve is going to go from your retina, the back part of your eye, and then it's going to transfer that image to your brain so that you can process what is happening and what you're seeing. Okay. I mentioned these earlier, but your blood vessels bring oxygen and nourishment to your eye, and it's located throughout the sclera. So remember, your sclera is the white part of your eye. So if you look at the front part of your eye, you'll see blood vessels that are in there. And the reason that they're there is to help bring that nourishment and oxygen to your eyes to make them healthy. The lacrimal glands, tears are produced by these glands and are constantly secreted onto the front of the eye via small openings hidden on the back side of the upper eyelid. Tears exit the eye through a similar opening on the lower lid, draining into the nasal cavity. So when that happens, this is why your nose will run as you're crying, is because of those lacrimal glands that you have. All right. The next part of your eyes that are really important, and we don't really think about this, are your eyelashes, okay, and your eyebrow. We'll focus on your eyelid on the next slide. So these hairs protect the eyes from particles that may injure them. They form a screen to keep dust and insects out. Anything that touches your eyelashes causes your eyelid to blink. So if you think about it, if you've ever had anything coming close to your eyelashes are constantly moving because they're not wanting any of those things coming near your eye. So when things are coming near your eyelashes, automatically your eyelid is wanting to blink to shut it out. The next part of your eye is your eyelid. So that's the top part of your eye. Earlier, when you were feeling your cornea, you were touching your eyelid to feel that. The eyelid protects and lubricates your eye. Small oil producing glands line the inner edge of your eyelids. And those oils mix with your tears when you blink. And that helps keep your eye nice and nice and clean and moist. All right, so the muscles in your eye. So each eye of a human has 6 muscles that are attached to the outside of the sclera. So these muscles are right within here, okay? They're holding that, your lens in place, okay? So 2 muscles, those are the ciliary muscles, which we'll talk about in a second, I'm sorry. So each eye has 6 muscles attached to the outside of the sclera, okay? So remember, sclera, white part of your eye. 2 muscles that are used for when your eye goes left and right, and then 4 of your muscles are being used when your eye goes up and down. Those muscles are surrounded by fat, which helps to cushion the eye in the event of a blow to the eye or the head. The ciliary muscles change the shape of the lens. So that's what I was mentioning earlier. The ciliary muscles are these little markings in here. Notice how they're holding that lens in place. So it changes the shape of the lens, relaxes to flatten the lens for distance vision, and contracts for close work, meaning when things are getting closer to your face. Hence why when you were moving your finger closer to your eye, you could feel that tension. As we age, these ciliary muscles lose their elasticity, which is why most people need to have reading glasses. Okay, the fovea, this little, gap right in here, is part of the retina, and it is responsible for the highest visual activity, and this is really where the center of our vision is located. All right, so now thinking about cow and sheep eyes versus the human eyes. So some differences that we'll see. So pupils in a cow and sheep eye are more oval, and you can see that in this picture here. They have a shiny blue-green layer called the tapetum. It's the lining of the eye right behind the retina. So if we remember that our retina, in this case, I had to find a different image, is this black part of the eye right in here. That's your retina. And then this thin layer, which you'll see it in the eye dissection, is a bluish greenish color. Okay, this is called that tapetum. So the tapetum helps them see better at night because it allows light to pass through the retina twice. The bright reflective eye shine is caused by the light reflected from the tapetum. So if you've ever seen animals at night and their eyes look like they're glowing, it's because that light is reflecting not only through the retina, but to the tapetum in order for you to see that. So that's going to help them with that night vision that they have. All right. So that is all that I have for the different parts of the eye. You definitely need to make sure you know where all the parts of the eye are located along with their function.